Okay, we are live. So, for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon muser this evening. Tonight, I'm just hopping on to do a very quick video about a recent experience that I had with Modiphius Entertainment, the fine folks behind such games as Acton Cthulhu, Conan 2D20, Star Trek Adventures, and a bunch of other very cool games. Bear with me one moment. I'm just going to make sure we are actually streaming. Sorry, normally I have other players in the background to fill up the dead air. Aha, here we go. So we are streaming. So to give context to this very quick story and a quick thanks to Modiphius, I had been one of the not one of the, I mean I jumped onto the Conan 2D20 Kickstarter quite early in the when the game was actually once it became announced. I'm trying to think when I jumped in. You know what it was? So I jumped onto the Conan Kickstarter before the game came out, when the Howard Days game was played. What for those who are unfamiliar with what Howard Days is this thing once a year where fans and scholars of Robert E. Howard, the author who created Conan, and Solomon Kane and a bunch of other characters, they all meet up in Cross Plains, Texas, where Robert E. Howard lived, and they have a big academic and fan festival. And at one of these, they had a bunch of people from who are scholars playing in a sample session of the new Conan game, which was fucking crazy because they actually played it in Robert E. Howard's kitchen, which was crazy. So that got me interested in the role-playing game. I got into the role-playing game, and I backed it. I ran that game before it was actually out at my annual, or one of my annual gaming conventions. And once the Kickstarter rewards started showing up, I got myself my my actual copy. And I'm not running it currently, but it's one of my favorite games, and I have thoroughly enjoyed running it and preparing it and reading it and whatnot. Like the materials, I still get the books and I still read all the supplements for it. I just haven't been running it for a while. But anyway, so it's a game that I've even if I'm not getting it to my table all the time, it is one of my favorite games, and I've really enjoyed running it every time I've run it. So we fast forward to recent months. And two things happened. One was that I picked up the Pathfinder playtest, and Pathfinder Second Edition playtest. And one of the ways you could get the Pathfinder Second Edition books, there were three options. You could get the softback, you could get the hardback regular copy, or you could get the either leather bound or a faux leather bound other version. And that's what I got initially, at least. And it was beautiful. Like I loved reading it. I loved having the cover, and it's going to look great, even though the playtest is only for a year, and this will soon become just an artifact rather than an actual game I'm using all the time. I just love it. Like, it's going to look great on the shelf. And around that time, I saw that the Modiphius was still or had mentioned that they still had copies of the limited edition leather hardback version of the core rulebook that they had available. You could still purchase them off the site. They were limited in quantity because they only produced so many of them at the time of the Kickstarter. And I thought, you know what? Even though I'm not running that game, I really love it, and that would be a really lovely copy for the shelf. And having an extra copy of a core rulebook is never going to go to waste, because you're probably going to if you've got more than one player at who are playing with in person, it's good to have an extra copy of the rulebook, or whatever. And it takes very little to convince me to spend money on gaming stuff. So there's that too. So anyway, so I finally bit the bullet, and with shipping, it was a fairly expensive purchase. I mean, I think I believe cost me well over 200 Canadian, all things in, for the copy. But lo and behold, I got my leather-bound copy with this beautiful, symbol of Aquilonia with the phoenix on the sword on the cover. It's got a good heft to it, and the print inside is just as good as what it is in the other copy I've got of my core book. However, when I got my copy, I started flipping through it, and I noticed that there was 2 pages where I'm thinking that what happened is the pages were moved ever so slightly in the printing process, because I'll try and hold this up here, but there's one bit there where I think you can see there it's quite smudged. So it's not that it's illegible, it's just that it's, you know, it's smudged. So it's not, oh, there we go. Boom. And there's a second page that's just like that as well too. And at first I was like, well, whatever. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just a little thing. I've got another copy of the book. I can always, you know, if I really, really need to see it clearly, I can go there. But the more I thought about them, I thought, you know, like, I mean, I did spend a lot of money on this, and it was intended to be really more of a keepsake than necessarily a play copy. So I flipped an email to Lloyd. I think his last name is Gahan, or I don't know what Lloyd's. It's G something or other. But Lloyd at Modiphius, and Lloyd had helped me previously with getting my copy of Star Trek Adventures, because I was, at the time the Kickstarter stuff was going out for that, I was moving, and I was worried that the Star Trek would show up at my old place. So I had flipped him an email. I flipped first Modiphius customer service about it and said, hey, what's going on? And there was a dead link there. So about a week or so later, I thought, well, you know, I'll flip Lloyd an email, because he had helped me before. And I thought that might be, you know, he might be a way of getting someone to pay attention to whatever, or at least to respond to what my initial inquiry was. And I wasn't, you know, I wasn't saying in my email, like, look, you know, this is what I got, give me a new one, or anything like that. I sent it and said, like, look, this is what it looks like. I sent photos of the page that's smudged, or the 2 pages that are smudged, next to the ones in my regular version. I showed the copy of my regular version, the cover, so they would know that I wasn't trying to like bamboozle them for an extra copy of the Conqueror edition. And I sent all those photos off to him as well too. And almost immediately I heard back, and he says, well, no, that's no problem. Here, and give me some options we could do. He said, we could replace it. We can give you store credit. What do you want to do? And I said, well, I'll replace it. You know, but like, do you want my credit card again for shipping? And do you want me to send the other one back? And he said, nope, don't worry. We're just going to say, he says, it's not worth us. It's not worth it for us to you know, to get another copy back. To have you mail it back to us. So just, you know, give it to someone or whatever. And they sent out, they, you know, said, well, got my address again. And they said they're going to send out another copy. Today, my second copy of the Conqueror's edition showed up, and it is flawless. It is perfect. It is absolutely beautiful. And it's just gorgeous. Like, it's such a really, really beautiful book. It's going to look terrific on the shelf. And the reason I wanted to post something about this is to really, you know, I've had 2 interactions with Modiphius so far, and both of them have been fucking amazing. Like, well above and beyond what I would have expected. And in particular for this too, like for such a big, relatively big purchase for a gaming product, right? It was really, I don't know, I just really appreciated it. Like, I felt funny trying to ask for, you know, a replacement for it, even though, I mean, like, I don't know, it was such a minor, you know, a minor marring of the pages. It really wasn't something that was going to make it unusable, you know, but it was awesome that he was just like immediately responded with, nope, no problem, we'll replace that. That's fine. And further to sort of what Lloyd had suggested, and to in an effort to sort of pay things forward as well, to what I'm going to do, rather than keeping 3 fucking copies of the same book, I am going to be turning over my first copy. And again, like, it's otherwise a perfectly, you know, beautiful and serviceable book. It's just there's 2 pages that are a little smudged, so they're a little difficult to read. I'm going to turn over this copy to one of my players, to a player who is the biggest Conan fan I know, and that would be David J. Fortier. So, Dave, if you're watching this, you got yourself a copy of Conan, thanks to the very, very generous people at Modiphius. So, I'll be passing that along to you when I see you next. And I guess, you know, this set stands in marked contrast to a recent experience that I had with another gaming company, and that would be with Pinnacle Entertainment. So you may see back in the background, I've had this copy of the Rippers box set that's been lurking there. That's the second copy of that box set that I've paid for. The first copy I ordered and it was going to the wrong address. And I realized that immediately after I ordered, like within seconds. As soon as I had they sent me the summary of my copy. And I initially had bought a copy of that box set through the actual Pinnacle website. And as soon as it came through, I realized that they had registered my previous address rather than my current address. And I'd been in this current address for quite a while. And I immediately emailed them and said, look, there's been a screw up. I need you to, please don't either cancel the order and I'll replace it, or change the address that you're sending this to. 2 days go by and I don't hear anything. So I flip another email to them. Still nothing. I tracked down an email address that had or rather a telephone address that was, I believe, Shane Lacey Henley's, because I was his voice on the other end of that thing. 2 messages left, no response whatsoever. What happened to my first copy? I have no fucking earthly idea. I have no idea where it went. I have no idea where I never heard anything, but that credit card charge sure as shit went on my card. Now, I love that product. It's a really great book. So I can't fault them for the quality of their products, but the customer service fucking sucks. That was ridiculous because, again, like, that's no small purchase, relatively speaking, for gaming stuff. So this is where I think that a company like Modiphius really does deserve credit here. Not only do I feel that they produce some really great products, the customer service I've received from them, the 2 times that I've had issues, has gone above and beyond. So I really, really appreciate the good folks at Modiphius, and I will be trying to pay their kindness forward to my players as well. So anyway, I just felt that with having such a positive experience, I'd share that with the community and give them some additional credit for the very, very great kindness they did to me. So anyway, I keep touching this Conan book, and I think I'm going to go and cuddle up with it for a bit and read me some Modiphius Conan before bed. But anyway, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or you've had similar experiences with other companies, I mean, I guess I'm not really looking to just vent, dirty laundry here, I guess, or air dirty laundry. I'm mixing metaphors because it's late. But I guess another comparison too, like just as credit where credit's due here as well. Mongoose Publishing as well had a really great, I got my copy of this year, I think it was my copy of the starter set, was missing a map. And I flipped them an email, and Matt Sprang got back to me like within a day. And then that same day, that map was in the mail, and I got it within the week. And that's, and both Modiphius and Mongoose are based in the UK. I live in Canada. So it's no small thing to be shipping shit overseas. So yeah, both those companies really, sorry, Mongoose, I should have given you credit earlier, but anyway, so Mongoose and Modiphius, or names of gaming companies from the UK that start with M, I guess. Maybe there's I don't know. It's late. I should go to bed. So thanks all. Again, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding this, please don't hesitate to drop a line. You can leave a note in the comment section below. You can shoot me an email at dungeonmusings@gmail.com, or you can shoot me a tweet at Dungeon Musings on Twitter. So anyway, tomorrow we have our continuing session, or next session for the continuing campaign, playing Barrel Maze Complete using 2nd edition Pathfinder. But I will be getting some Conan back to the table very soon, in particular using my pretty new book. So anyway, thanks all. Happy gaming, and I'll see you again soon.